Omaha's news leader, chronicling the stories and people making a difference in our community. This is KETV Newswatch 7's Chronicle.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us for another commitment edition of KETV Newswatch 7's Chronicle. This morning, we're taking a look at the race for Douglas County Sheriff. Current Sheriff Tom Wheeler was appointed to the post in December of 2020 after Tim Dunning retired. Wheeler's not running for the office, but 4 candidates are hoping to take over the sheriff's role. Democrats Greg Gonzalez and Wayne Hudson, and Republicans Aaron Hansen and George Merrithew are on the ballot for the primary. Now, we have interviews this morning with all 4 candidates. We're starting with the Democratic race and Wayne Hudson. He is an Omaha native, spent 26 years with the sheriff's office, currently the chief deputy there. Hudson also served 6 years in the U.S. Air Force and has served on several community boards. Wayne Hudson joins us live now. Thanks for being here. First off, just tell me, what are your priorities for the race?
Well, Rob, first of all, thank you for having me on the show today. Sure. My priorities are a few of them, which is we're going to increase community engagement with the sheriff's office. We do a good job, but we need to expand and get into different areas like North and South Omaha. So that's one of my top priorities. The other priority is going to be I have to increase the pay with our deputies. Right now, we're one of the lowest paid agencies in this area. And it's hard to compete with Omaha Police and some of these other areas. So what's going on right now is we're getting our deputies taken from us. And I don't want us to be a target-rich environment for other agencies. So that's my second priority. And my third priority is a better mental health response when it comes to individuals with a mental health crisis.
You say get into North and South Omaha. How are you going to do that? I mean, how is that beyond what the police department does?
Well, it's just helping out the police department, and not so much enforcement, but community engagement. There's a lot of different community engagement things going on right now. I know I'm heavily involved, but what I'm going to do is get my department more involved in North and South Omaha so that they know us, they see us, and then hopefully we can recruit them to our agency.
And you mentioned recruitment, and you mentioned the salary, and I've talked with other law enforcement agencies. They talk about lateral moves and how they are pulling people from Douglas County. What's your plan to retain and recruit?
Well, what we have to do, first of all, you're right, is retain. So what we have to do is work with the union and the county board to make sure that we can get something in place to increase our pay and our benefits. Once we have that, we can stop the bleeding in our agency. To attract more individuals, we are currently going through fixing up some of our facilities. And once we have increased pay and better benefits, then we can attract individuals to our agency. You know,
transparency is a very big concern of the public. I mean, is the Sheriff's Department transparent enough? What should the public be able to know?
We are very transparent. I can tell you right now, since I've taken over as the chief deputy, we've also opened up the department. For the first time, we had an open house. For the first time, we're doing things to let the public know what we're doing. We get out into the public more. We are doing more community engagement. We're letting the public know exactly what are the different duties and responsibilities of the sheriffs.
Diversity. Are you satisfied where the department is now as far as diversity and inclusivity?
I am not. And see, one thing I remember about our department, we have a certain law that's different than the Omaha Police Department. Chief Schmatter runs an excellent department, and he can diversify his department a lot faster because he can select anyone he wants on that list. I have a different set of rules. Nebraska law says for every one position, the sheriff can only consider the top 3 individuals on a list. So I'll tell people like this. If Chief Schmatter was to retire today and take my test, and let's say he had a bad day and he came in 4th on my list, and I only had 1 opening, I cannot select Chief Schmatter. That's how tight our rules are. So I'm working with a senator right now, so for the next legislative session, to kind of open that up some so that we can look at a broader number on a list and diversify. But what we have to do is we have to get more individuals, minorities and females, to take the test. And we've done a lot better job. This last testing process we just got done, 50% of our list are females and minorities. We've never had that before.
How do you get more people to get interested in law enforcement and specifically Douglas County Sheriffs?
Well, you have to get out there. You have to be active in the community. I'm part of the 100 Black Men, and their motto is what they see is what they'll be. If they don't see law enforcement officers, if they don't see the sheriff department in the community, then they're not looking to get an employment by us. So that's one thing. The other thing I want to do is I want to build upon it's a cadet program where we would build a relationship with Northwest High School because they are the career academy for criminal justice and Metropolitan Community College. So what I want to do is select a couple students coming out of Northwest High School, give them a scholarship to Metro Community College, and at the same time do a work study with our agency. So instead of a school to pipeline type situation, it's a school to employment.
Okay. Deputy Chief Hudson, thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You bet. Well, Deputy Chief Hudson's opponent in the Democratic race for sheriff is Greg Gonzalez. Gonzalez currently serves as Deputy Chief with the Omaha Police Department. Omaha native has 28 years of experience in law enforcement with OPD and Sheriff's Office. He retired from the Omaha Police Department this past January, last serving as a Deputy Chief. He's also served on several community boards. Gonzalez told us that he was under the weather at the time we recorded this program, so we're sharing excerpts of an interview we conducted with him last week. And we start with the question why he is choosing to run now.
The sheriff, of course, was in that seat as a sheriff for over, I think, almost 26 years, maybe 27. And so I was approached actually the last election to seek election for the sheriffs, and I wasn't eligible to retire at the time. And this time I was approached again by other deputies. And I think the sheriff's office is looking for some new ideas, potentially some new leadership. It was a great opportunity at the end of my career, you know, really kind of pinnacle of my career. Deputy chief for almost 10 years. I rose the ranks at the Omaha Police Department. It was real fortunate to gain a lot of experience, you know, work in violent crime and in management. I spent half my career in management and the other half in violent crime. 9 years at the executive level, so it was a great opportunity really to take my experience to a new level, to an elected position as another law enforcement leader in the community. Part of my duties as assistant chief was also I did our annexation packages. So I'm kind of still familiar, still have friends and family in the county, deputies. So I'm familiar with the department because over the past 28 years at OPD, I still worked with the sheriff's office. So those challenges really are different challenges because they still have a road patrol division. You know, they're gonna have some new deputies working at the Juvenile Justice Center downtown. They still have their court division. So the structure of the agency is still the same. Probably one of the biggest challenges that the sheriff's office has is, you know, really relevancy. You know, what's the future of the sheriff's office? Is it gonna be absorbed into you know, the city at some point, and or secondly, you know, they're hemorrhaging at the deputy recruitment level. They've lost close to 10 deputies to either the Omaha Police Department or other agencies in the past 5 years. So the taxpayers, of course, have to absorb that cost, and so that's exactly what I did. Part of my duties at the Omaha Police Department. I hired over 450 police officers. So it's in my wheelhouse. You know, I'm excited that I could bring that expertise to the sheriff's office. And that's probably one of the biggest challenges. The second challenge that they have is really kind of working together with their executive team. The sheriff's office is one of the lowest paid agencies in the metro area. And as you well know, it's really tough to get individuals interested in being law enforcement today. So we need to work on that, even at the sheriff's level. We need to make sure we work with our labor folks and the fraternal order police and take a real bipartisan approach with our county board to make sure that our employees are taken care of. Because if you don't have deputies to answer 911 calls, then that's a problem. I'm gonna really kind of speak about me, and that is my executive level experience. You know, I've actually been successful in that position. You know, I had a test for it. I was never appointed to in a position. And, you know, my opponent was in that position, you know, only less than a year. You know, I've been a successful assistant chief in a major city for almost 10. Plus, I'm the only individual that wore both uniforms. So when it comes to kind of long-term strategic planning on the sheriff's office, I'm the only candidate that's wore both uniforms, and I'm the only candidate that really has experience in, you know, $40 million budget experience, hiring over 450 police officers, you know, working with elected officials. I did our legislative work for the past 9 years for the police department. I worked violent crime half my career, so I have the operational experience to go with it. So, you know, it takes a career to be, you know, a top law enforcement official, and I feel like I've earned that position. I feel like I'm ready to take on a new role. And regardless of who wins that race, you know, I want to speak on my credentials and my experience. we need our community to be successful police officers and deputies. And, you know, if you look at the national issues going on, a lot of it has to do with police community relations and really, you know, that lack of trust with the community. And one of the things I do bring to the table is community policing. This is what I've been doing since day one as a rookie police officer. And so yes, for the past 28 years and continue on, I still volunteer time as a coach, you know, flag football and baseball. My family does, my kids do, it's kind of in our DNA. So public service is very important to the community. And as you know, with our PACE program from North Omaha to South Omaha, we have 6,000 youth that play for free.
All right, still to come, continuing our commitment coverage in the race for Douglas County Sheriff, we'll introduce you to the two Republicans running for sheriff, Aaron Hansen and George Marathu. You're going to hear their priorities if they're elected. That's coming up on KETV News Watch 7's Chronicle.